We can put it on YouTube.
There we go.
All right. So, welcome. We can get started.
All right.
Show.
Yeah, we're graphic novel geeks. Today we'll be discussing some of our favorite recent reads.
So who wants to go first?
All right. Well, I'll kick it off, man. I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while, but never gotten to it because of time. So one of books I've been reading that's my favorite is I Hate Fairyland. This is by Scotty Young. Scotty Young has also brought us great things like Strange Academy and other books drawn by Brett Bean. And this is volume 2 that just came out about 4 or 5 months ago from Image Comics. So follow up to his first series. Now, I didn't really read the first series. My partner picked up issue number 1 and we read it and we thought it was pretty cool. But at the time, I was kind of more just on a DC kick and so didn't really pick it up. And then with volume 2 coming out, being a fan of Strange Academy, I was like, yeah, I got to get this. And it's just really awesome stuff. It's just not really for kids, maybe teenagers, and it's just over the top. So there's this gal, Gert. She was a little girl that went to Fairyland and got stuck there for over 30 years, became a crazed maniac adult living in a little girl's body, and chopped her way through one adventure after another with a huge axe and a sad sack fly named Larry. Guess what? Everyone loved it until that baby cover drawing dirtbag, acting like he's some sort of famous cartoonist, that'd be Scotty Young, decided to end her story so he could focus on some sad dad book about the Midwest and another one about an artist feeling pigeonholed and looking for a new style, and who ends up falling in love with a couch or a house or a thing that is pretending to be a couch or a house or a man or something or whatever. Point is, Gert is back in Fairyland, kind of. I mean, not really. She's more in, well, you know what? If you want to know what happened, go read these comics. So, they do it. It's like this nice little cartoon world, there's the happy moon and the happy mouse and all that. But like chaos ensues, and, you give a little girl an axe and, well, what do you expect to happen? Right. And the artwork is just amazing, just great colors, great lines, just so much stuff going on. Just completely insane. And it's so funny, So she managed to get out of Fairyland and return to the normal world, where she got a job as like a cashier at a restaurant, like a fast food place. But things happen and they need her back in Fairyland. So she does head on back, and she meets various people, some kind of like was it a goat dude that had to get her on through the back door to Fairyland, which basically they went on through, they had to travel on through hell to get there. And so that took them a little while.
Well,
not really an easy place to get through. There's the little goat dude. They do eventually get through there after fighting, several monsters and demons. Turns out that like there's this corporate dude. I don't remember if like his kid was kidnapped and taken to Fairyland, right? So he recruited Gert to help get the kid back out, since she's familiar with Fairyland. But hey, oh man, there's these like things that are kind of like gremlins, and if you like feed them after midnight or get them wet, then they just make more. And so she's got to fight through all those things. That's what's on the cover of number 3 here. And I mean, it's just so over the top, so crazy. Which reminds me, another book that Scotty Young did is he did the Rocket Raccoon series that came out from Marvel, within the last 8 years or so, and also like Rocket Raccoon and Groot. And so highly recommend it. I haven't picked up these older volumes of the first series, but I haven't gotten around to reading them yet. Totally looking forward to them. Is just I think one of the best series out there right now. Highly recommend everybody checks out I Hate Fairyland. Blurred out.
Dude, that was awesome and crazy, and I want to read it. I mean, it's so looks like it's just so wacky, all this stuff happening. In
Yeah.
fact, one of our viewers, a new viewer, I don't know how, Sir Chris something, found out about Fairyland 2 from their friend. So
Cool, right on.
I don't know.
Yeah. These ones, I just picked up from the local like Barnes and Nobles or whatever. So they're readily available. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, your local comic book shop should have them. If not, they can get them. Yeah. So that's my first one.
That's great.
What you got for us, Joe?
I got a couple things, but so recently I've been on this kick. I'm about to probably get this name horribly wrong. Giselle Lagasse or Lagasse? Giselle Lagasse.
Right.
So she is a Canadian writer artist, known for a webcomic called Menage a Three. And so I was really enjoying her art, which really led me to checking out Exorcisters, which she did not write, but she did the art. So I was reading this and I was like, oh, this art looks really familiar. Oh, this looks like this other book. So I just kind of was just rereading both of these actually, but I'll talk about Exorcisters first. So this book is actually a lot of fun. I bought the single issues years ago, and I remember I read issue the first two, but then you know what happens, things kind of end up in your stack and you kind of get behind, and then time passes by where trades come out and you're like, well, I'll buy the trades, right?
Right.
So I actually have I have volume 1 and 2, and recently finally got through all of volume 1, and yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So the basic premise, you have Kate and Kate Harrell, Kate with a K, Kate with a C, and they essentially I guess they're kind of supernatural kind of investigators, I guess, if you will. So if people get into trouble with the occult, demons, you call them up, I guess, kind of like Jessica Jones-esque, where they'll kind of solve your issues for a fee.
All right.
And then you have this Kate here, she's kind of the more I guess straight person. And then you have the other Kate that's kind of the more wild card, as you can clearly see based on the cover. And they both, definitely have their disagreements and their bickering. This Kate here is usually always drinking or just eating random snacks and things. She's like a bottomless pit. But so they're basically going around solving cases and whatnot. And the first one, it's a whole thing about this. The first issue opens at a wedding, and where the groom gets presumably sucked into hell, and everyone's just kind of freaking out. So then the Kates are brought in to investigate it.
Right on.
Yeah, you see the chains down there grabbing them. And then of course the bride is distraught and everything. And then so the Kates kind of, they investigate this and figure out, that there's more to it. The guy actually made a deal with this demon. So he actually was not drawn pulled into hell. He made it seem that way because it's actually this demon that feeds on sadness and sorrow. So by him doing this to his wife, the demon would have an endless source to feed upon, because it would be her sadness and sorrow while he continuously gets money. So little things like that are just pretty messed up and hilarious. But of course he gets his comeuppance, and the demon ends up feeding on him. But just a lot of fun stuff. The sisters, they go back and forth to hell. there's all kinds of like snarky demons and whatnot. There's a lot of humor in it, as well as, you know, some gore too. But yeah, they're both pretty funny. You actually do find out that technically they're not sisters. It's this whole thing that their mom did, you know, of course, you know, when you make deals with demons. So I mean, I won't spoil it, but you know, they're technically not sisters. So don't want to give that twist away, but yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. The mom's got issues. And yeah, and then no, the book is you know, it kind of escalates a bit. You know, it kind of becomes a situation where, you know, the world's going to end, of course, and then you have a lot of great character moments, you know, the flashbacks and things like that. So you kind of see their mom when she was younger, and you get each of these perspectives to see, you know, why everything is the way it is in present day.
Cool.
So, but no, it's a good read. I'm actually kind of upset at myself that I didn't read it sooner. But I got through issue 1. I have issue 2 on my bedside, and I want to get into that now. But yeah, it's pretty good. But then while I'm still on Giselle, I want to say, so Menage a Three, totally different. It's totally a comedy. You have this comic book geek, Gary right here, and he comes home one day to find his 2 roommates totally kind of like getting it on, and so like he finds out in that way that his 2 roommates are actually gay, and they're like, yeah, so we're in love, we're just gonna like we found a place and we're just gonna leave. He's like, wait, but like how am I going to pay rent now? So they're like, oh, we already put an ad out and everything, so you'll be getting interviews for people to like come stay, you know, to like apply to be, you know, be your new roommate. And it's just like, what? And it just all happens really quickly. And then like the first girl comes, she goes by Z, and then she's definitely a trip. Like she has all her stuff like in a van, like already parked out, and like, you know, played in a band, and it's just kind of like quirky and kind of over the top. And then right afterwards, you have D, who comes in, who's kind of like very ditzy and obviously attracts attention, and it just leads to all kinds of like shenanigans with the 3 of them living together, and it's just a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's actually in black and white too, so because
Oh,
okay.
it was a web comic at first,
that's nice. Okay.
and I believe there are 3 volumes of it right now, but it's actually pretty funny. And they put in a lot of references, like you even see Gary wearing like an X-Men shirt. And there's a lot of things in here where I'm just kind of like, well, actually, even in Exorcisters, where I just wonder about licensing, because in Exorcisters, there's a point where characters have like a My Chemical Romance poster in the background, and I'm like, can you like legally do that? Did they say that was okay? And then there's just a lot of stuff in here too, where I'm like, is that legal? But whatever. So a lot of fun. I recommend it.
It kind of seems almost like a modern twist on Archie with Betty and Veronica or something, right?
So, you know, I was thinking the
Basically.
same thing. I looked at that, I was like, that looks like Archie. And one of our viewers, Death Mix 13, is like, wait, is that Archie? And I was like, I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
Like
even
more raunchy Archie.
yeah, even the art style, even though it's manga, you know, looks a little reminiscent of like some Archie Jughead kind of Betty and Veronica. So I wonder if that played a bit of an influence.
Yeah,
cool.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like I'm flipping through because there are like some panels that are a little bit more mature. So I was kind of flipping through, just kind of like find, I guess, like appropriate kind of, because it's definitely an adult comic, but it's a lot of fun.
Cool, man. That sounds great. Yeah, I like that. The Exorcister sounds cool. You know, they've got like a new Scarlet Witch series is kind of along the same lines, like Supernatural Private Eye. And there's this TV show recently that I love called Los Spookies, where they do like these paranormal, supernatural kind of crime solving, you know, PI kind of stuff. And it's been a really fun genre lately, I think.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a very fun genre. Like I definitely dig it.
Cool.
That's cool.
All right, what you got, Tatsu?
So I got a few things, or not a few things, like 2 series. I think we're go over the Torch.
Uh-huh.
And this is basically the invaders from like the 40s,
40?
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fighting team with Captain America, Bucky, the Human Torch, but not Johnny Storm. It's the android Jim Hammond, and then Namor.
Mhm.
And the covers of these books are amazing. They're done by Alex Ross. It looks
Yeah.
really cool, right? Look at that. I mean,
Yeah. Alex Ross is great.
yeah, he's a great artist. There's that one right there, right? It's really cool.
Nice.
And it's written by I just saw it on here. I don't see the page. It has the writer, but it's on the front there, on the bottom. I don't know if you know those names, but
I see Carrie. Mike
yeah,
Carey, maybe?
it's in the back. Oh, it's in the back. That's weird.
DC does that sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Marvel, yeah.
Actually, Alex Ross actually helped write the story. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Carey wrote the scripts, and
Okay.
the internal artist is Patrick Birkin-Cotter. So
Don't know him.
me neither. But there's the thinkers right there.
All right.
Yeah. And I think this is a really great series. It's another one of the Human Torch there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It also introduces a second Human Torch, who's not really a Human Torch, but his name is Toro.
Uh-huh.
He was a mutant that the light on fire thing is not his power. His cell is just ignited when the John Hammond came across him. So then he became a kid Human Torch.
Okay.
This is really cool.
So what's his actual power then?
I think it's kind of like, I don't think it really has a power. I think it's kind of like feeds off of it.
Okay.
Like if someone has an ability, I think he'll just kind of gain it. And it just happens, his cell just happens to ignite when John Hammond was like flew by him or whatever.
Okay. All right, cool. So he's maybe like maybe like Rogue, where he absorbs people's powers then.
Sort of, but I don't think I think he absorbs it without like hurting them, right? I think it's
Okay.
like by proximity.
Okay, so kind of like a Peter Petrelli from like Heroes a little bit, except it's not like, except for Peter, it was permanent, but yeah, he would just be around people and just get powers.
Yeah, sort of.
Right on.
Trying to find that issue. But somehow I haven't read this in a long time, but there's the 3 Human Torches.
Oh, who?
So that means that Johnny Storm somehow got involved with this. There's 3 right there. Right in that bottom
Okay.
corner. Yeah. And I thought it was really cool to have like a teenage Human Torch, but then found out he's not really that. He's just got cells got ignited. It's great artwork in here. I think it's a really fun read. Yeah, like there's Johnny Storm again. Right, where is he? See that corner right there at the bottom on the other side?
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think it's really fun, really cool read. I recommend it. I don't have the trade back, but this came out like years ago. I want to say like more than 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get up to pace with the current. There's also the
Invaders.
right? They have the mask on. Kind of did it in the new Black Panther movie, right? Sort of similar, anyways. And again, this is back in the like Nazi era. There's Jim Hammond, and that I believe next to him I think is actually Toro right there.
Okay.
There's all those stupid Nazis. There's another cool shot right there. Another cool illustration painting. That's really cool. You know, it looks like 3 Human Torches and some person in the sky that thinks they're all that, because obviously they want to shine. Hey, right?
Yeah.
So that's my first one right there. So if you want to go on to one of yours,
Yeah.
uh,
Hey, speaking of stupid Nazis, I think we talked about this book before, Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Undead. It's written by Bruce Campbell of Evil Dead Army of Darkness fame.
Bruce Campbell.
And so that series just wrapped up as a 6-issue limited series, and we can see on the cover, there's Sergeant Rock. He's going against the face of evil itself, Adolf Hitler. So in this series, the Nazis managed to turn their super soldier experiment worked a little bit better, where they managed to turn the dead into undead zombies. And so this issue, Rock and Easy Company make it into Hitler's bunker, and they are, faced with taking down Adolf Hitler himself. And I mean, I don't think we need to spoil, history from 70 years ago, but Adolf Hitler dies. And it's because, Sergeant Rock sticks it to him, man. And that was a pretty cool series. Kind of, maybe not for all ages. So more for older readers. And yeah, so that was pretty cool seeing Sergeant Rock just, punching some Nazis in the face, man. Yeah, the next series that I want to talk about, it's been one of my favorites. I gotta say, pretty much my whole life. I don't even remember when I first got into it. Gru the Wanderer. Started collecting with issue 18 or 19 of the Marvel Epic series. So that was like, I don't know, back in 86 or something. And the current series is called Gods Against Gru. And it's the third part of what presumably is a trilogy. So it started out Play of the Gods, and then Fray of the Gods, and now Gods Against Gru. So what happened there in the first series, there were some gods up in, Godland. I wouldn't say heaven, because there's all these different pantheons, and they're all made up gods in Sergio's world. But there's ones that's kind of like Zeus, and ones that are kind of like, all the different pantheons from mythology. And just like kind of like what the Greek gods do, they're like, well, I'm bored, let's mess around with the humans a little bit, right? And this came out a while ago, so I don't remember it too well, but they mess around with the humans, and all their best laid plans, Gru messes them up, right? So for people not familiar with Gru, he's this mindless barbarian, and he is good at pretty much two things: fighting and eating. And he is he's a mendicant, a beggar. He's poor as dirt, and he's dumb as a brick. And he just goes around fighting, and everybody fears him because he's prone to, like, okay, so when he walks through town, like they'll be working on a building and there's scaffolding, and then he accidentally knocks it down, and like the whole town collapses. And then he'll get into a fight. So they'll hire him to fight in one army, but then he gets confused and he turns around and he kills the army that he's working for. In the second series, through pure stupidity, he ends up like saving the town, and so then the town starts worshiping him. And because he gets worshipped, he becomes a god, right? And so in this series, there's like two of him. There's the Gru on Earth, but then there's the elevated avatar of Gru up in the god / heaven type realm, which is the god Gru. And they go to this land that's kind of like Mexico, and it's split into two different countries. One country has a lot of silver and gold, and the other country has a lot of precious gems. And they're so common, like none of them really think that it's worth anything. And so some of Gru's pals, and when I say pals, they're not his pals at all, but people that he commonly interacts with, they come to this land and they're like, okay, how are we going to get the gold back home? And then they're like, okay, well, let's we're going to work out a deal with the other country, and we're going to invade the country with all the gold, so that way we can take all their gold. And Gru ends up, being involved and causing problems. One of the problems is any boat that Gru is on always sinks. And when they see that Gru's involved, they're like, uh-oh, what are we going to do here? And then they find out that he's being worshipped. So they've got some priests, and they're like, well, hey, let's set up these priests. Since the people here worship Gru instead of their deity, maybe we'll just kind of change it up. And so the priests start going around. They say, oh, well, Gru's a prophet for our deity. So if you're worshiping Gru, really, you're worshiping our deity. And they're kind of like, no, Gru's the guy. Gru's the guy. And they're just like, Gru, we love Gru, almighty Gru. And, I've just loved this series by Sergio Aragonés. So one, his art is just incredible. He does these crowd scenes that are just packed with so much going on. You could look at like each page for an hour and still find something new. His scripts are just hilarious. He's aided by Mark Evener, lettering by Stan Sakai of Usagi Yojimbo fame.
Oh.
And Sergio is known, he's as the guy that draws the little sketches in the margins of Mad Magazine. So he did that for 40 years or whatever. And and also it's not just this mindless barbarian fighting where it's funny. Sergio actually works in things like, commentaries about different issues, about religion, about politics, about, other social issues, getting along with different people. Part of the play of the gods, Fray of the Gods, one of the characters, like this little girl was looking for her father, and she found her father. So there's like all different emotional, social, and other things going on that are much deeper than just on the surface, where if an 8-year-old were to read it, they could enjoy it because it's slapstick funny, but adults also can get a little bit of deeper perspective on the world and life. So I love Gru. I love Sergio Aragonés. Has been one of my favorites for like my whole life. Everybody should read at least one Gru.
It looks really funny, and I want to read that. And it does look kind of familiar. Like I've seen stuff like that in like Mad Magazine like a long time ago.
Yeah, for sure. He's been a staple of the cartooning comic community for a long time.
It's great. Do you have another one, Joe? Or do you have another one, Keith, to talk about before we switch? Or
Yeah, I got something else. So I've been going back and rereading. So Hiroya Oku, the creator of Gantz, definitely an interesting individual who I would like to meet in life at some point and have a conversation, because I just want to understand how this guy's brain works. He's very interesting. But so they've been re-releasing the series in these like omnibuses.
Oh wow.
I think so like that brought me to the point of rereading the series, because now I can actually own the whole series. There's like 3 volumes in like each one. So I think I'm up to they're up to like maybe actually might be done. They might have 11 of these out, but I have up to 8 right now. But it's just been kind of a wild ride going back and rereading it. But for people who don't know what Gantz is about, so it's a dark sci-fi horror, I guess. The whole premise is that, so essentially, like, you know, the two main characters, you know, they're in high school, they're teenagers, and they they try to save a homeless man off when he falls into the tracks, like in the subway. And like the whole thing about it is like no one's willing to help this guy who fell, but then they both are trying to, but they end up dying in the process. Like they get hit by the train, and instead of dying, they end up in this like random apartment, like in Tokyo, and with other people, and it's like a black ball sitting in the room that plays this like creepy exercise song. And so the whole thing is that, like, yeah, which you die, but then you end up in this room, and now you essentially have to go on these missions that the ball tells you, like on the screen.
Yeah.
It'll say hunt this alien or this target, and then it gives you like high-tech weapons and a powered suit to enhance your speed and all of that. And you have a time limit to do it. And yeah, it gets very violent. It's very brutal. The thing is, if you manage to survive the mission, you know, you get points. Oh, you get points if you actually participate. I mean, you just can't like be in a mission, just walk around hiding behind somebody. No, if you actually kill some of the targets, you get points, and you know, you make it back. Even if you get like really like critically injured, where you lose a limb or something, if you are still breathing by the time the clock goes out, you'll be transported back to the room, okay? And then you can go about your business until you're summoned to the room again. But
so it's like being in a video game in real life. You get some XP, do that mission.
Yeah, but way more terrifying, because if you die in this, you will die. Yeah, if you get 100 points, you have options. You manage to get 100 points. It's not easy. You can either choose to go free, or you can bring a player back who died previously, or you can just upgrade your weapon. So it's very much a series about human nature. You have good people who are just trying to survive, and then you have people who, like, there's a point in the series where they introduce like other teams, because the main team you see is like the Tokyo team with the main characters, but then eventually they end up in Osaka, and then you see this Osaka team, and it's all these like, you know, super badasses and whatnot who have crazy weapons and are enjoying it, and you're like, wait, these guys are sociopaths. Wait a minute, because how many times do they get 100 points to get all these ridiculous weapons? You know, these guys are crazy. No, this is horrible, right? So, but no, it's definitely a critique on human nature and whatnot. The art's really good, but here's the tricky thing with this: it's very, very mature. So I'm trying to find something I can show. But because there's nudity, there's all kinds of gore. But oh yeah, okay, this isn't that bad. This is when like the main characters are about to get hit by the train.
Oh snap!
Yeah, so they're Kei and Kato. Like, so the train is coming, because originally they thought that you know, the train was gonna stop right at the station, so they could like outrun it, right? But it turns out it was an express train that wasn't gonna stop at the station, so that's why they clearly get, you know, killed. So let's see, let me find some other artwork here. Oh yeah, so you can see actually the ball. There's got to be like a splash page here that introduces it. Let's see. Oh, well, no, that's not okay. Better. Like, you kind of see them sitting around the ball here. So like, yeah,
okay.
That's Gantz, basically, the ball. And then, yeah, so they get these targets. Let me show you what the suits actually look like. Let's see. Oh, well, that's kind of a cool cover page. Oh, here we go. This could work. Let's see. I just saw something cool. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, that's kind of violent. I just saw, oh, here we go. Perfect one. So the main character wearing one of the suits, like charging at the alien boss. So yeah, it gives you like enhanced strength, speed, all of that. It protects you. It definitely protects you. So the thing about it is, like, yeah, make sure you put it on, but it's always annoying because when you end up in the room, you know, because people are dying these missions. So it's like you and like, I don't know, like the main character and his friend and maybe two other people, they'll be brought back. but then everyone else died in the mission, so you have new people in the room. Then you have to keep convincing them what's going on, right? You have to explain the rules, but you have these people going, "Oh, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to do blah blah blah." Okay, And there's a character at the beginning of the series who's been doing who doesn't tell anybody anything. He's been in his room for a while, and he's at the point where he just doesn't divulge information because he's like, it's pointless. But the main characters find out, wait, you knew a bunch of stuff this whole time. He's like, there's no point. Idiots come through this room, whatever, they'll die. I'm just gonna cloak myself predator style and get my 100 points. But yeah, it's a wild ride. It's definitely not for everyone, because there's certainly certain subject matter in it. But again, like I said, the creator is very interesting because he's done other things too. He's done this Inuyashiki, and his new series called Gigant, I believe. Yeah, Inuyashiki is a little bit it's like almost like Gantz was like a prototype for it, but Inuyashiki, it's like the premise. I actually don't own it. I've seen the anime series, but it's basically you have this old man, not really that old. He just looks older, and his family treats him like garbage. He just finds out he's like ill, and it's just like his life is just horrible. Then there's like, of course, this like disturbed teenager. Both of them end up getting like hit, like I guess killed by aliens, I guess, but then I guess they get hit or something, but then they end up getting new like robot bodies. I mean, they look normal, they look like themselves. It's basically like, I guess the aliens kind of like a hit and run, and it's like, oh crap, well, let's fix them, and then like leave. And then it's never addressed again, but that's just the catalyst for why they have powers. So now you have them both with these godlike powers, and the old man is doing is trying to be heroic and do everything in his power to like save people. And it's actually kind of uplifting and motivating. You're like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Then you have the teenager who's just a sociopath. So, but in both series, they feature a massacre in the same location. So I think Hiroyo Oku has problems with Shinjuku. I don't know what Shinjuku did to him years ago, but he keeps massacring Shinjuku for some reason. So, and then there's some very other questionable things he does, which is why I'm like, I would like to have a conversation with him. But I do recommend Gantz for an older audience if you're down for some sci-fi horror and and some nihilism, I guess.
Right, cool, man. That sounds like a brutal good read.
That sounds pretty crazy, kind of funny, interesting to read. Yeah, definitely. I've heard about that before. Yeah, like about the ball and stuff like that. But I haven't really watched it or read it. But that sounds crazy, by the way.
Oh, it gets crazy. I mean, to the point where because again, the different types of aliens they go after, the different enemies and like the bosses. I mean, there's a point you're reading this series and you get to a point where you're reading it and you're just like, wait, I'm watching a scene where you have individuals with psychic powers, mind you, who apparently psychic powers exist in this world. Like it's not a Gantz weapon. Like apparently people just awaken psychic powers. Don't question it. So you have like psychics like in the middle of the game who aren't wearing suits, they're just or using the guns or weapons, they're just using psychic powers to essentially fight velociraptors. Don't question it. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't question it. Don't question it.
Velociraptors?
Don't question that they're aliens. Don't question it.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. It sounds like that might appeal to people that like Squid Games. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Or Battle Royale and stuff like that.
Yeah, Battle Royale.
Oh, God.
That's a good movie.
Someone named Playmat, he just joined. He's like, what did I walk into? I heard Velociraptors.
I know who that is. I know who Playmat is.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Playmat will have to check out the rerun on YouTube. Graphic Novel Geeks. All right, cool. Hey, you got another one for us, Tatsuo?
Yeah, I have a series. I don't have the trade back, but I have all the issues. Spider Island. This is a great story in Spider-Man. I think it's awesome. There's a little foreshadowing If you can see that, that's the Statue of Liberty with the Spider-Man outfit. And if you look in the back, there's buildings with spider webs.
All right. All right.
It literally becomes Spider Island. Without saying too much, I don't want to spoil anything, but basically, kind of like how Peter Parker gets his powers, through radioactive bites.
Hmm.
Let's just say a bunch of, well, you would think spiders, but they're actually bed bugs. They bite
Okay.
everybody, and everybody gets spider powers.
All right.
Yeah, and this is really cool, like cover, even though it's really cool designs in the actual book, they don't actually wear the stuff, but there's Shang-Chi right there, really cool. Black Panther in the back with the Spider-Man costume. Again, Cloak and Dagger on this side. I think that's Nick Fury in the Spider-Man outfit, and then the Hulk and Iron Fist, Captain America. It's just funny, right? To see someone like Nick Fury with spider powers. It kind of blows my mind, actually.
So did Spider-Woman get bit and got spider powers?
Yeah,
I saw her on the cover there.
instead of her venom, it's actually some. It's been a while since I read it, but this is a really cool thing right here. I think it's influenced Bean right there. It was like some kind of spider, right?
Wow.
It's written by Dan Slott, and it's from Humberto Ramos.
Cool. That's a solid team right there.
Yeah.
And Slot writes Spider-Man for like almost like a decade, right?
Yeah.
Long time.
He just wrapped up a 48 issue run on Fantastic Four. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And he did like 30 issues of Silver Surfer with Mike Allred. That was just one of my favorite series of all times. I mean, man, Dan Slott writes some solid sci-fi, I think. And Humberto Ramos is just wrapping up his run on Strange Academy with Scotty Young. So that's solid team.
Yeah. And then, this gives Peter Parker a unique opportunity to fight crime as Peter Parker, and no one would know because everyone has literally everybody, like even civilians can just shooting webs and stuff like that. Probably someone wearing a Spider-Man costume. That definitely happened. It actually involves a jackal right there too. Right. Now he can actually come on TV and say stuff about fighting crime stuff, and he's just Peter Parker. There's a great right there. See, everyone is like swinging with spider powers. There's a chef in the background right there that has spider powers next to Peter Parker, next to his arm. It's like it's a chef.
Okay. Serving up some spider sandwiches.
Basically, yeah. I hope it's not sticky sandwiches. Oh, I got Venom.
All right. Good guy, bad guy.
I think this is the
Flash Thompson, right?
Flash Thompson took over as Venom, which is
okay.
It was really cool. Yeah, there's so many cool stuff, and I think this is actually when Peter Parker had a 6-figure paying job as a scientist at Horizon Labs. So he was able to make his own tech while creating stuff for like people. He would like secretly make Spider-Man tech
on company time.
Yeah, basically, right? He would make an invention and be like, I'm using it for myself. He had a black suit, in the Spider-Man movie. I think the Homecoming one, and probably one after that in the MCU. He touches it and it makes him like invisible or stealthy, right?
Okay.
So that Tony Stark invented it.
Okay.
It was actually Peter Parker.
Oh, okay.
Peter Parker. And those cookie robots in the movie, right? In the MCU, it's one of the Spider-Man movies. Peter Parker made that, not Tony Stark. But they had he's a kid. And of course, as you might guess, look who got it too.
Jameson.
Jameson.
Yeah.
So is he finally put an end to the Spider Menace?
I don't remember, but I think he's like freaked out at the same time, probably horribly so. Uh, um, I'm trying to find this one scene. Peter Parker ended up losing the ability for his spider sense. They can no longer use it.
Okay.
So, where is it here? Where is it? He has to make up for it by learning kung fu
Oh yeah.
from the one and only Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, yes.
The master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, they created spider kung fu, pretty much, which uses his abilities of web swinging and playing the walls in addition to kung fu. So I think that's really awesome. Being a kung fu teacher and everything, I can say like, "Hey, Spider-Man knows kung fu," and that's actually real now. Not a joke.
Right
But
on.
I don't know how canon it is though. They probably forget about it. They're probably not write up. They don't write them doing kung fu in they don't do that. But that's a one-time thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, man, with his web slinging, he could be one heck of a flying swordsman.
Yeah, he could without being in the wuxia the wuxia movies like
Yeah.
Dragon and Dragon. Where is it? I think it's behind me in my stack, but yeah, this is a great read, and the way that it ends is very interesting. It's not your typical superhero save the day thing. It's resolved in a better way than fighting. So it's great.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this series. It's a really awesome read.
Yeah.
Um,
So like what's the setup for it? Was there like a core 6-issue miniseries and then like one shots and crossover into other titles,
yeah,
or
there was crossovers. There was the Road to Spider Island, which involved other characters building up to it,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. In fact, hang on a second. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, definitely there was crossovers and everything.
Always crossovers.
Yeah.
You got to, right?
Of course, it involves Fantastic Four, this is Future
Uh-huh.
Foundation. Peter Parker was part of it.
Okay.
And let's see. Of course, you know who Anti-Venom is?
No.
That's Eddie Brock gone crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was he at the shelter that Aunt May helped out people with, homeless people, and then he found religion, and then after he found religion, he started to want to purge individuals of their illness, like Peter Parker and his spider-ness.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of went insane. That's before Flash Thompson became Venom, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Brock always wasn't the most stable dude.
No, he wasn't. So yeah, definitely that's a great read right there. You guys should read it. They probably have a trade
Cool.
back. They do have trade back actually. I just never got it. Like collected the issues way back then.
Right on. All right.
Some more chats.
Uh-huh.
The playmat said high paying scientist job, definitely not at a university.
No.
No. No. And then Dick Chris said where there was venom, there's anti-venom. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of happened that way.
Actually, I think Mr. Chris of Fracture Comics is in that chat actually.
Oh,
all right.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Cool.
SYK XRAS.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
Definitely recommend that one.
Glad to have a few new viewers watching the show.
Yeah.
If there's anything that you want us to talk about, review in the future, hit us up. It's geeks at goblinscomics.com. Goblins is with a Y. You can contact us through Instagram, Facebook, and let us know what you are curious about. Maybe you heard that there's a new title coming out and you want to know a little bit more, want to get what our take is. We're always happy to talk about all things comic books and graphic novels. All right, cool. Well, I've got one last one to talk about. It's a self-published series called Carbon, by a guy named Justin Madsen. And Justin Madsen is he's also put out his first OGN called Tin Man. I don't think that was self-published. There was some kind of book publisher put that out. That's available through his website, Just Mad Books, as well as through Amazon. But he's also known kind of for a book called Breathers, which he like self-published back in the day, I guess, and then it was picked up by a small publisher called It's Alive Press. It's Alive is starting to pick up steam a little bit. They just came out with a classic underground 80s comic called Roach Mill. So they've got that going on again. And there's another comic called Airboy that was put out by Eclipse. So It's Alive is putting out Airboy. They put out Breathers, and Breathers has been picked up by Dark Horse. Dark Horse is going to be collecting that into trade paperback that they're putting out in September. But his other series, Carbon, he started working on it in 2014. Well, I'm sorry. He released the first issue in like 2014, and volume 6, the last issue, just came out in 2021. So this is really like a labor of love. He's been working on it for almost 10 years, and he writes and draws it. And the premise behind it is okay. So there's seers, like psychics, people that can see the future, and it has really kind of early Chris Claremont X-Men feel to it, or theme to it, I should say, where people hate and misunderstand these people that are different, and so they're like passing legislation, are seers illegal, or are they not illegal? And what's that?
The Mutiny Registration Act.
Yeah. It very much reminded me of early X-Men and all that. And there's just like this huge cast of characters. And so, it's telling the story from different perspective of several different people. There's a politician, there's a seer, there's a not seers, there's like the boyfriends, and they all, and like the uncle, and they all kind of commingle together. So, so let's see, Avalon is like the I don't know, the godmother of seers. She's like the OG. Sally is a newer, younger seer, and some of them wear these like antlers to kind of, I don't know, show that they're seers or whatnot. And it really centers around, there's this little girl that has wings, and she gets kidnapped, and they kidnap her because the evil scientist like wants to figure out why she has wings, and then the other characters like they try, they want to find their adopted daughter, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, I got to go help my relatives look for her, and so there's just several different characters, and they all come together at the end, of course, through relations. And it's not a superhero comic, and it's a drama-based sci-fi thing. Anyways, I'll get to some of the art. The art's really cool and stylized. It reminds me quite a bit of Jeff Lemire. you know, from Sweet Tooth and everything else that I love. Maybe also like even Calvin and Hobbes. And you know, this is at the end, kind of a spoiler, but kind of not. There's a big fight at the end. And you know, we've got our winged character there, and is really just such a great series. So like each book is like 100 pages, so it's like a 600 page, you know, read through all of them. And there's just you know, a lot of drama, all the character interactions and all the emotions that are portrayed in the series of you know, this missing girl that they're trying to find, and the feelings about people that are different, you know, the psychics, these seers, and how they're hated, how they're feared. You know, it's just really full of emotion and commentary about how humans act with each other. And you know, I recommend it. Get it from Just Mad Books. He's got an Etsy shop. You know, probably ask him to sign it, and he'll sign it up for you. And I've just really been enjoying it. It's been he's been one of my favorite creators for about a year now, since I first found out about him. Wish I could kind of explain it a little bit better, but you know, just gotta pick up issue number 1, check it out for yourself.
Great, that's great.
You'll enjoy the read.
Is it? I think it's called Carbon because humans are carbon-based people. Things.
You know, I don't know why it's called Carbon, but you know, I wish that there was a little blurb, but the little blurb on this one, since it's at the end, hopefully there's not spoilers, but let me read this up. When I set out to create Carbon some 9 years ago, I really had no idea what I was in for. I had a good plan going in, as I remember. I had worked out all the plot points and scenes and written them on Post-it notes. I stuck them in orderly columns on the wall above my drawing table, a kaleidoscope of colored squares with barely legible script on them. I would take down these Post-it notes one at a time, each time I completed a scene. It was a good way to mark my progress, I figured. At some point, though, I decided to deviate from my carefully configured columns of Post-it notes and just let the story wind and twist and turn how it wanted. It was just more fun that way. There was no plan for Salix or Ulmus or the idea of mind hacking. There was no Dr. Pitt or Carbon 11. Maybe I let the story go off the rails a bit at times, but now it's done. I can't imagine it going any other way. So, yeah, I guess that didn't really describe it, but there it is.
That is a cool workflow thing too. Post-it notes.
Yeah, must have been a lot of Post-it notes.
Yeah, a ton.
I kind of imagine it like those like X-File kind of scenes where they got the board with all the different yarn and push pins and stuff connecting things together. All right, cool. Well, anybody got any last comments or thoughts before we wrap up the show?
So Playmat is asking, does it need to be a recent or current run for us to review it? No, it can be from a while back. You know, we review comics from current to years ago, even longer time ago. So that's fine. It doesn't matter when it's from.
Yeah, and you know, if you've got like a favorite artist, book, or character, and you're like you want to know more about him or what other books he's done, be like, oh, you know, I really like Fantastic Four, but I don't know where to get started, or something like that. Yeah, shout us out. You know, we'll answer your questions, man. We're not quite professional graphic novel geeks, but closest you can get for free. All right. So, hey, our every 2-week schedule is changing up just a little bit. We're going to be on next week, April 2nd, at the same usual time, same usual bat channel. Joe, we've got a special guest. You want to tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Yep. So we will be having my business partner, Chris Adams of Fracture Comics as a guest on the second. And we're going to, pick his brain, as disturbing as that might be. And but no, we're going to talk about his books, Death of Darkness, Edge of the End, and just kind of what inspires him and why he wanted to be a writer.
All right, cool. So don't miss it. Tell your friends. It's going to be a good episode.
Playmat said, "Viewers beware," and then Chris said, "Be afraid."
All right. Thanks for watching. We're Graphic Novel Geeks, and you already found our Twitch channel. You can also check us out on YouTube. We got some past episodes, and we'll be posting them and keeping it rolling. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll catch you later. End the live. And we're good. And ending.